Hi, guys, it's David, and welcome to another episode of Right Politics. Today, I wanted to talk about the electrical grid in Cuba and how the Cuban government runs everything when it comes to electronics and water and industry. So, there is absolutely no private electricity companies, and there are absolutely no private cell phone companies. So when you are a Cuban, you pay the electric bill to the government and you pay the water bill to the government. But they're so disorganized, they cannot run the country. The reason I say that, when I was there, the electricity went off 6 hours a day, every day in the town I was in, because they distribute electricity among their towns equally, and they do not have enough power grid to support the whole thing continuously. So, like, I would be watching a movie with another person, and then the electricity would go out, and that's it, no more movie. A lot of these people do not have resources to cook without electricity, so they go without food when the electricity is completely dead. And that goes for most of Cuba. Hurricane Ian that just hit, the electricity was out for 3 days in the entire country. So when individual citizens of Cuba decided to go and protest, the government, which also owns the cell phone service, cut the cell phone service so that the Cubans could not get out and protest. And that is exactly how communist regimes deal with protesters. They just cut them off with their communication. Justin Trudeau did the same thing. So what I'm trying to bring like a word picture of is that when these college students hear that communism is the answer, they have absolutely no idea of the real ramifications of communism. They need to go to a communist country with a couple dollars a day and see how they can really live. In addition to that, the lack of food that was in my previous video, I was riding with someone to the beach, and it was actually my girlfriend, and there was a horse and buggy. And just to let you know, these animals are basically the taxis of southern Cuba. It's basically back 60 years ago. A lot of the transportation is by ox and horse and buggies. So we were just riding around, and the horse dropped dead. And my girlfriend said it was because there wasn't even food for the animals. So you would think that if the Cuban government actually was the kings of industry and they were providing for their people, which are Cubans, then they would actually buy some cows and raise the cows, milk the cows, and sell the milk to the people. In the same way, they would take all of that farmland in Cuba and grow crops and basically do agriculture to bring to the people. If they're really controlling the entire grid, that's what they would do, but they choose not to. And I used to say this, when I come back from a third world country, the greatest thing that I see when I return is a Walmart and a dollar store, because it has absolutely everything you could possibly want. There's so much choice. And if they were to actually open up the government to Dollar Trees and Dollar Generals, like that was actually getting deliveries from the United States, these countries would flourish because they would have basic necessities and they would not have to wait around for the government. And the government doesn't give handouts. You always hear about beans and rice and food coupons, and that doesn't happen. You are literally on your own. And most industries pay $1 a day. So when I say $1 a day, 100 Cuban pesos is the equivalent of $1. So the average Cuban makes 100 Cuban pesos per an 8-hour shift, some of them a 12-hour shift. And a Coca-Cola costs 120 pesos. And at the airport, it was like 160 or 200. So you can't even buy an apple with 100 pesos. So if you're making the equivalent of $30 worth of buying power in a month, you have to have a side job and you have to rely on other people. You can't just do it on your own. That's why there's also a very big family culture there, where everyone is together and depend upon each other and rely upon each other. And it goes to show that it's not what it's cracked up to be. And it's not just because it is a, third world country, because there are more prosperous countries across the Caribbean, like the Bahamas, who have embraced capitalism, like Puerto Rico, that use the US dollar, where you can find frickin' McDonald's. So we have to be very careful that We understand that Cuba is an enemy of the United States, but communism is not the answer. And the reason why I'm saying this is because the current Cuban president has the opportunity to purchase food and medicine from the United States, but he chooses not to out of a grudge because of the other trade embargoes like internet services and deliveries from sites like eBay, Amazon. So when they order from Europe, it's so expensive. Like we were waiting on some like Coca-Cola to come into the local stores. The moment all of the Coca-Cola brands, we're talking Fanta, Coca-Cola, and Sprite, hit the shelves, they were gone in 3 days because everyone is so happy that they've arrived. They just, buy them out. So, and they only arrived twice. Now this is from Mexico, but the ironic part is that even when they purchase Coca-Cola products from Mexico, they're supporting a U.S. company. They don't really see it that way. So, in addition to that, there's real hardship. The people who are trying to become independent are doing it basically off the own skin of their fingers, working really hard to become self-employed. That's why if you ever go, stay at bed and breakfasts because the government allows citizens to have bed and breakfasts. So if you rent an Airbnb for $60 a night, the money goes directly to the Cuban people and not the Cuban government. And also you get the whole house, which is really cool. That's what I did when I was there. Yeah, so the next video, we'll cover a few more things, but I wanted to thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you on another episode of Right Politics.